We're going to have our talk with the brilliant Oliver Twins very, very shortly. Just a few technical things we need to sort out. Anybody got a tiny, tiny screwdriver on them? And we'll just do the whole, you know what I'm talking about, with tape decks and all that sort of thing. It's a bit bigger than a tiny screwdriver that we need. You've got 35 minutes in between.
If you can get this telly working in less than 35 minutes, that would be really good.
This is the older brother bullying the younger brother. That's what we're saying here.
Once upon a time, when you would plug something into the computer, into the screen, and you get a picture on the wrong side.
But that screen usually under this one, ZX Spectrum, copyright, blah blah blah. I mean, it took a lot more work to get any game to actually appear on it.
It did. But we enjoyed it. And an answer the screwdriver.
Yes.
Actually, I have to say, people have said to me, it's amazing what technology does. What will they think of next? And I said, the stuff that does what it says on the box. Easy. I was going to say, I knocked this slideshow up yesterday. What was your picture?
Nobody move!
Slightly dodgy cable.
Right, that's
what it is. I hear it's slightly dodgy
cable. That brings back gaming memories of 3.5 LEDs and all the rest of it. Don't move it!
No, the computer will sneeze it. I can see we have to click buttons to go to the next slide. I'll be in front of the screen.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I think, are we ready to get underway, twins?
I think so.
Oh, good. Well, this hardly needs any introduction, but thank you very much for joining us here at our weekend at Expo Blackpool, and thank you so much for coming to the first of our talks over these 3 days. We're absolutely delighted to have such a headline pair of guests to start our talk series at Expo Blackpool this year, and they hardly need any introduction, so I may as well hand it over to them. But I know that if I ask you to shout out maybe your favourite games from the 80s era, Dizzy, some of the simulator series would absolutely be definitely shouted out. 7%, I reckon, 7% of all of the UK's game industry was responsible to this pair of twins only a couple of years after they started publishing. They made a huge impact on all of our lives as gamers. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome Philip and Andrew on the
Right, okay, I'm really sorry about the technical issues. He's going to lock that, so what we'll do is lock it. Yeah, we've had worse. We do a lot of talks at colleges and universities, and they quite often have these weird projectors, and ultra-book does not go into old projectors. No. So, right, we've got some slides and some videos. No idea what the volume of the videos are, so I'll have a look at it and run over them. Okay, we're taking through our slides. Do you want to just put cracking onto the agenda? So we're going to talk about how you got into games industry and why we got into games. Probably same way you guys did as well. We're going to talk about some of the games we wrote. And then we're going to do, we broke it into kind of 3 categories. There's games, there's non-simulators, so they're called Dizzy. And then there's the simulators, and then there's Dizzy, and then there's a bit. I might have not that slide over. I might have not the Amiga going to private sector company, because I kind of figured that this was a retro talk about Dizzy and stuff. But then we'll talk about the Dizzy returns, and then we'll make questions. Maybe gifts for those people who ask. Nice question. Okay, so in the beginning, and frankly, the beginning was when arcade games were created for us, certainly. We must have been 11 or 12 when... Someone's shouting, they can't hear me. No, somebody shouted about that. Keep it down. Right, yeah, we were 11 or 12 when Space Invaders and Pac-Man and things like that turned up in about 1980, 81, that kind of time. And it was just an amazing time, as some of the older people in the audience will know, that actually being able to control things moving around the screen was kind of magic. But we were brothers, and it was also extremely competitive. So yeah, we just had to beat each other on these games. But it was taking a lot of 10p's, so then we came to see the rise of the home computer with Sinclair releasing things like the ZX81. Our older brother got hold of the ZX81, but he also, being a little bit older than us, discovered girls at the same time as the ZX81. So we generally used the ZX81. and it's quite difficult writing a game in 1K of memory, because that's kind of what you had. But effectively, we got Pong. And we were thrilled. I mean, we were actually, you could make something that was, we made it. So we wanted to get a decent computer. We wanted to actually get a Spectrum. But unfortunately, there was sold out everywhere, and it came around to Christmas, and we didn't get a Spectrum. Yeah, okay. I realise that we might be covering some stuff in a minute, but in those days it was all about programming in BASIC, and you could just about move things around the screen, but it was a little bit difficult. But it was just, we really wanted to make these games ourselves. We'd had a year or so competitively trying to beat each other on these games, and now we wanted to try and make some games. Right, so our first sort of addiction was the arcade games, but we didn't want to put too many techies in because we didn't have to put techies, to be honest. But a friend of ours, his father had an Apple II, and that little picture that you can see, which is very different, is Taxman, which is kind of a copy of Pac-Man on the Apple II. And basically, when we were about 12 or 13, we kind of lived around our mate's house into the evenings, just playing that game repetitively. But then we decided that we wanted a computer of our own, so we did a pick round. That's a child doing a pick round. Pick round hardware, especially the free packets. That's actually quite a good memory. I was just thinking £1.70 something. Yeah, a couple of hours of both of us doing it. Desperately trying to raise whatever it was, about 150 quid or something, for one of those. In fact, this was a Dragon 32, state-of-the-art, colour, real keyboard. It's really weird as well. It's quite wide. Yeah. As you pass it around, because it's unbelievable to. It's like a computer. It's the flimsiest, most plastic thing you've ever. It was something air. Anyway, so from that we decided to sort of learn BASIC and actually start writing some decent games. We learned BASIC as a stormtrooper. Watch out. We learned BASIC on that and managed to get a type-in listing published, which was good fun. And we went on a TV show. So the Saturday show here with Gary Newman and Tommy Lloyd. Yes, and Ryan Sinclair and people like that. And then we started being able to publish games. The first game that we got published was Gambit, which was actually the game that had been on the TV show, and that was through Acorn Soft. And it might be kicking around the table somewhere. He doesn't chuck anything out what we've done. He's got a bigger loft than me, but pretty much everything we've ever made, worked on, we've got. It's just a case of finding it half the time. Come back. I haven't got that one. No, that's another one. Okay. This is one of the early things we did for BBC. That's actually quite funny actually, because yeah, so we were at school when we were doing these things, and we ended up helping this game published by BBC Soft. Okay, and they came to sign a contract with us, and they go, oh my god, and the contract came through, and they said, you're not allowed to sign a contract because you're too young. And there was all sorts of problems, so we got our dad to sign the contract. But the irony that BBC themselves actually had a panic when they realised that they were working with kids. It's like, if there's one company that must have worked with kids before, it would have been BBC. It's like, that was really weird, but we just got our dad to sign the contract. So, basically, we managed to improve our programming skills because the strategy was written on the BBC in BASIC. Somebody recently tweeted me that it was 241 lines of code. Which was like, is it? Whatever. So I was quite impressed somebody managed to find and get it running. So well done. But we obviously wanted to learn assembler because assembler was the kind of more machine code language, which and that's what we learned it from. That is a well thumbed through book on assembly, learning Z80. They sell it when they make the chip, so you sort of get it. I came up with BBC, so yeah. But these are the books that we learn our coding from. So anyway, we managed to start learning machine code and do things like KV, I think that's kicking somewhere. And then moved on to Super Robin Hood. But I think it's about time for a funny old video. Do we do it have funny old videos? They might definitely do that. Oh. I was really quick. Hang on. very sensitive mouse. I'll try and get the mouse to go out of the way. Yeah, please.
How do you actually go about designing the day that actually brings community?
It's called programming, guys. Not typing it in. It's on ITV, they weren't allowed to say BBC. That's it. It does work as well. Right. Yeah, we've had enough of that. Right, okay. Yeah, okay, so obviously we started with basic and that was our first game. We're still at school. What we found though, it was really hard doing the graphics for these games. And there was one program called Melbourne Draw that we were trying to use, but it was very frustrating, some of the things we wanted to do, because we just wanted to draw a tiny sprite or something and export it or put it out and get it into a game, and we found it couldn't do some of the things we wanted to. So we actually wrote an art package so that we could do the sprites and stuff that we wanted, and then went on to Panda Sprites, which was a set of routines. I mean, we call it middleware nowadays, but it was just a set of routines where we moved sprites around the screen, because those people with Commodore 64 had a luxury of sprites, but if you had a Spectrum or Amstrad and stuff, it didn't come with easy ways to move characters around the screen. So we wrote it, and we tried to write it so neatly that anyone could use it. We'd be able to use it lots, and actually we went on and sold it. And actually there were quite a lot of games that actually did use Panda Sprites.
First middleware, I believe.
Sorry?
The first middleware.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. Yeah, so we first, while we were in the sixth form, we started writing these games. We met a guy called Michael Paul Jones of Interceptor Software. Some of you may have heard of that.
Published Jeff Minter's first stuff.
Jeff Minter, yeah, that's right. That's him. Yeah. And we were doing these little games and decided to put them out at $1.99 because we were only school kids. We were happy for them to go out cheap and just explore the market, and it was quite good. We were very happy, but it was just pocket money. I think we got something like 250 quid for each one. Yeah, I know. Don't believe what you read in the press about it. It's kind of like, oh my god, this kid's a millionaire and stuff. It's like, look, it's school kids. Like when you get in, like these sort of
better than the paper round.
It was places like that in the paper round. Took a lot of work, but there was always this kind of thing. You get home from school, homework, or go and play on the computer. Right, so yeah, I think I'll hang myself a bit. Anyway, we got to the point, as we said before, where we left school, and on leaving school, our dad said, if you're not going to university, you've got to really make a proper deal of it, like I said on the last slide. And it was fortunate that that's the day that we went to ECTS. No, but in September, beginning of September, was the European Computer Trade Show in Hammersmith. Met the Darling Brothers, they were just setting up Codemasters. we showed them these games and said that we could write games for Ghostbusters. And they said that sounds good, and we said, sort of, what do you pay? And
Yeah, so I had a paper design of Robin Hood and just all drawn that one actually. More for that sort of thing. And we used to be paid a couple of £100 for each game, and they looked at the paper design and they said, yeah, if you could do that, we'll pay you £10,000.
which we just couldn't believe. It's like, holy crap!
Remember, that was when £10,000 was worth a lot more than £10,000 is now as well. We're like, seriously? So yeah.
So we just went away and we wrote it. We didn't sleep much. We wrote it. It went out.
It was about a month.
Yeah.
We didn't sleep. We shared one computer. Hang on. Oh,
Yes.
actually, it's a 664. Not that one. That's one of them. Yeah. Hang on, Robin Hood, it's over there behind you. Except that's not the same version. That's the Italian ST version.
Anyway, the point is, we wrote it really quickly. We didn't sleep. We took it in shifts, using the one computer. Got it out for Christmas, and it sold really well. They didn't stick to their £10,000. When we did the master, they said, oh, we were estimating royalties. We only ever pay royalties, and it got. So anyway, we just went with it, but it sold
10p a copy.
Yeah, it was 10p a copy. It did sell phenomenally well, and it did make that sort of money.
Yeah, it made about £10,000 after Christmas, and it carried on selling.
But we got into a routine now. It was like we got
You
into
knew
our,
you didn't need sleep.
Yeah, you need sleep when you can just. We didn't give us enough money to buy two computers, so we could sort of now work alongside each other, and we could, when we did sleep alongside. So I think that's probably where we brought that. Right. Is that this? Yeah. I remember the other thing as well that went through my mind, and this is just kind of funny, when we went to Robin Hood, because I think it might have gone to number 1 or been about that, and it was the time when...
I can tell you, I've got all posters.
Yeah, okay. Well, we listened to music, sort of cassette player, I guess, would have been playing a lot, and we were listening to Kylie Minogue and Cross, I have to say, were the ones that were popular at the time, but the one phrase that kept on going is, they're one-hit wonders, they'll never do it again. And we got a bestseller, and everyone said to us, like, you just one-hit wonders. It's like, no, we can do it again, and we're sure that we can make a better game than Robin Hood. And it was always this thing that when you listen to the radio, they just have this expression going around with one-hit wonders. So we just went bloody hard to make sure we can do it again, which was Ghostbusters. Okay, and we did it again and again and again. And thank you for people who bought our games. It just inspired us. We used to walk down to W.H. Smith's and Woolworths and see our games on the shops, and it was like, that meant so much to us.
And if they weren't in the top charts...
We moved them up the shelves to the top spots. We'd shuffle them. I'm sure like, the local shop manager, would someone stop shuffling these games? Why do we want to keep finding themselves at the top? Yeah. Okay, next slide, with my mouse.
Oh, hang on, it's just worth mentioning that between the games, sort of simulators, we were talking about how easy and we did actually do a bunch of other games. So we did the charity game Race Against Time, which I have to say I've taken that all off and I dropped it, so it's a bit broken. Yeah. That's Race Against Time. Limited edition cover. This Ghostbusters got told not to use that cover, so actually that's one of the only ones that cover.
Yeah, it's limited edition when you're told to not duplicate anymore.
And then there was ISS, which was an interesting story because we had a lot of success. We were selling games, and we had Activision contact us asking us if we could do a game for them. Only we thought it might upset the darlings, so actually it doesn't have our name on it. But
they didn't notice. They were just running the game.
Our friends a name on it, we wanted to get in the industry because we thought, well, you either believe it back, or you can give somebody else credit because they didn't get a job in the industry.
Anyway.
That was all I could link. I did actually work on Raspberry Pi last year, so I still was. About 10 years he worked for Ghostbusters.
Yeah, he did all the electronic stuff.
Yeah.
Cartridges, hang on. Please. Yeah, he did some of the stuff in the cartridges.
Electronics.
Yeah, so it doesn't somehow look very official, does it?
That sticker, that's one of the master ones.
Okay, let's move on. Okay, so
we did Ghostbusters 2. Ghostbusters was cool. Just wish Ghostbusters 2 was as cool.
Yeah.
That was a big disappointment to us as well.
Yeah. The stories we can tell you about working with film licenses and other people's IP, they would go on for a long time and we talk too much anyway. But I have to say, we absolutely loved Ghostbusters. It was a very popular game, particularly Commodore 64, and when somebody contacted us and said, can you do the game Ghostbusters 2, like the film's coming out, you've got a few months, can you write it? We were like, absolutely. They sent you the script, that was it.
The script.
That was it. So you got the script, and you go, right, we've got to make a game of script. So we looked at it, and then tried to work out like all the levels.
The first scene is dropping down
The tunnel, the shaft.
a large shaft with hands grabbing from the side.
It was brilliant on the script.
Pages.
Yeah.
No.
You remember
the game?
It was paid.
But who remembers it in the film?
Well, in the film, they are digging a hole in the road,
And then they appear at the bottom.
They appear at the bottom, but it was pages worth of script, which there's virtually nothing in the film. And I think it was because they thought that there was the idea that you'd put lots of ghouls and ghosts right at the beginning of the film, and then somebody decided, actually no, let's leave the mystery and don't put all the ghosts in the opening scene. So
we learn about these things as we find out with many films in the future. When you watch the film for the first time, which, by the way, the game has already been mastered.
yeah. So, but I remember we didn't actually get invited to the premiere because we were sitting behind Barry Norman. So he was reviewing it. So we watched it about a week before it was out in the cinemas. We'd already finished the master of the game, and we were sitting there going, "Oh, that's it good." Anyway, we got too many stories.
And then you sit there and go, it's not as good as the first, is it?
Right, come on. Okay, so we created lots of simulators. So Co-Masters set up, Dave Darling wrote the game Red Max, and Rich Darling wrote the game DMX Simulator as kind of the launch title to launch their company. And they did very well, particularly the BMX Simulator. It was the time when that sort of craze in found it was BMXs or skateboards, or Spectrums or Dominoes. So we decided that we'd try to follow that up with Grand Prix Simulator, because we thought racing cars are more interesting than BMX bikes. Although having said that, we have recently done one of those Let's Play videos with us trying to play Grand Prix Simulator, and it's like, oh, the memories are older than actually trying to play the game.
I think it would have hurt out, and would have hurt out a bit more resolution as well.
Resolution and physics. But anyway.
And skill.
It was a game, but I'm not sure how much it was to do with car racing. But the idea was there.
It sold it very, very well.
So, yeah, it did sell very well. So then we wrote, we got some money and we went to skiing all day. We were so chuffed by skiing all day that we said, we've got to buy a game about skiing. It's sort of inspired a bit by Marble Madness. So we took the logic and gameplay of Marble Madness and tried to mix it with skier.
It does feel like in our Manchester you're coming down a cliff face. So we've just been skiing, it's like, yeah, we could do this.
Yeah, so we thought we could, but it doesn't play very well. We did struggle with that one. Anyway.
Let's hope they remember the SD and Amiga versions.
So, Fruit Machine and Pinball, but I can't remember which one came first, but the idea was that we went to the arcades a lot, and arcades don't exist much more since the virtual consoles. But we used to sort of see a lot of people playing Fruit Machines and Pinball Machines alongside, and we thought, well, computers could do that. So effectively, we wrote Pinball Simulator, which again, we did another video, I don't know how it runs at all, frankly, there's no real but it actually doesn't play too bad.
There was such a dream of doing lots of pinball games, and we got halfway through going, this is actually harder than you think. It's like, it requires maths. We should have paid attention in these classes.
Yeah. I have to say actually, I do remember matrices and vectors coming out of maths. And I thought, who uses this stuff in real life? Who? And then we were like, what was it? And I was literally going back to some of my old maths books going, what was all this stuff? We didn't have the internet or anything, so I didn't really go and buy the books, but I knew that I had the books somewhere.
Don't spend money on books.
Right, okay, moving quickly on from the simulators. I mean, we had lots of fun making lots of simulators, and we wrote them, as most people know, of...
Did anybody play with these simulators? Yeah. Put the hands up.
Right.
That's quite a lot.
So,
do you like them?
Yeah.
Right. All games were tough in those days. Come on, we were Jet Set William Manning Minor. Bloody hell. Anyway,
so tell the story of how we made these.
Yeah, so we wrote them on this, literally this, with their funny little floppy disks, which...
It did have a monitor, which was in my loft, but I'm fucking not going to bring it.
So the secret of our success was this little bit of electronics. Because you couldn't sell that many games on the Amstrad, though we actually loved it for keyboard and disk drive.
You could sell quite a lot on that.
Yeah, so you plug that in through the RS232, which is the old printer port, and we got the cables go through, and it thought it was a printer. Our computer thought it was a printer, and then with a bit of software on that, received it. And you tuck away, save it, compile it, send it down and see if it works. If it crashes, you don't care, you just do it again. And we just couldn't believe some people were trying to write games actually using the same computer. Because what happens when it crashes? And, like, how do you save it? You go, oh, I've got one of those tape drives. People snap there, don't they? You can't use that.
Anyway, by the way, I have to say, once you know the inside of one of these machines, and you know the inside of one of these machines, and you see how similar they are, you kind of think that somebody designing that might have been inspired.
Well, yeah. I think
Can you just put a decent keyboard on it, a little bit more memory, and just sort out the attribute clash and shipping?
Anyway, so we typically wrote them on the Amstrad, ported them to the Spectrum, and then other people around Codemasters were porting them to the Commodore 64.
And I see it later.
Oh,
here's the games we made. Endless Runner at the top, Z-type in this thing. Killer Beat. Ghostbusters Coffee Simulator, Robin Hood, ISS, 3D Starfighter, Jet Ski Simulator. We did do quite a lot of games. There's that scene from Ghostbusters, Hunters, Busters, whatever.
Right, okay. That's a double one video, chopped in the middle. I think we're coming back to that one. Right, okay, so that was up to 1990-ish.
Oh no, don't do it again! It didn't like it first time!
Let's just do it again.
Nice box.
Okay, and obviously, you know, we created a lot of DZ games. Okay, so, what was it? It was Robin Hood, platform game. Then we did Ghostbusters.
And then that's where Dizzy came from.
And yeah,
and we actually put a little sprite from our pan sprites, which could do sprite rotation, which you program and try to show.
we had him running around sort of a haunted mansion. And the Ghostbusters, by the way, was because we loved Ghostbusters and Scooby-Doo. It was.
Who doesn't? Yeah, so did a nice big face, and then there's this issue, is it an exit face? It was a face that we called an X, so we ran with that, okay? Especially as our dad said, you could call him the Yolkfolk. And then that stuck. It's like, so,
along with all the excellent jokes. It was quite funny though, because if you use the EX, it's all positive words. And we just noticed that, like, we weren't using it, but everyone who reviewed our games kept on trying to do the EX jokes, but they're always positive.
exciting. Excellent.
Yeah, and things like that. So actually we went, actually that's maybe not such a bad thing, so we sort of ran with it.
Absolutely. So Dizzy was put into sort of ghost hunters running around, and then we just thought, actually, here's a little cartoon character, and you love cartoons. This was the time of D'Artagnan and Danger Mouse and Count Dracula and all that kind of stuff. So we thought we could make our little fantasy world. I read The Hobbit. Remember that, because it's back on the April. So, we were thinking, we could maybe kind of set this little cartoon adventure, this little character, and make up this kind of fantasy world, and make it a cartoon, which is why we insisted to go with it. We call it the ultimate cartoon adventure.
Yeah. Okay.
Stretching the drink a little. Cool marketing.
And it was also, another thing was, we wanted to make a platform game which had a bit of story, a bit of puzzling, rather than just timing of jumps and stuff like that. Although actually, in the original there is a little bit of timing problems, but we generally want to try and get away with it.
Rolling problems as well.
A bit of rolling problem, yeah. But we wanted to
We
try
kind of talked about taking the rolling out, because it was really rock hard.
It was gameplay.
Oh, for God's sake!
Yeah, it's good gameplay. It was our unique gameplay.
But it kind of became its signature, so I can't say that bit out.
But we were trying to make it so it just didn't kill it all the time, because certainly there were so many games which were just really difficult. And we thought, doesn't matter, now people have bought the game, and it took 20 minutes to load it. It took me 20 minutes to load it. Let them try and fathom out. And being a puzzle adventure, you'll work out over time, you will sort of we will solve puzzles and move further on. It's not a case of the dexterity and just being really, really hard, that it's quite hard to learn.
There's a funny thing about it, right? So we were selling 7% of the UK's games, and we went round, somebody said, could you go around this, my cousin's a massive fan of yours, and we went round there, and we said, yeah, what's on a few things? And we get those, and he holds up his keyboard and he goes, can you tell me to get that? That one there.
And we were like, don't know. I ain't typed on the Spectrum before. It's like, Dizzy games and simulators, all sorts. We plug that in and press load. And then we know where the Z, X, whatever it was, M and K, up, down, left, right, and space. And pretty much that's it. I mean, it's not worn out. It's not worn out from 2 typing. So, yeah, good luck to all those other people who haven't used the Spectrum. Well, okay, so after we did the first, and it had a few little characters in there, and you end up putting a troll in. We were quite fans of Star Wars as well, and they had their Ewoks and various things, and we were thinking... Anyway, it might... Yeah, so it might be slightly inspired by some sort of Ewok tree village. But we just thought people read a lot more into these characters. We just sort of draw, actually we don't draw the very nice Spectrum, but you put a little bit of an image of a character, and then you get an artist to go and draw a proper one that is put on the back of the box and things like that. And people read a lot more into them than you could have ever done. So, like we were trying to have little 20 minutes of story and stuff, we realised that putting characters in, which were very, very cliche, people read a lot more into them. So, obviously we have Princess, and you can immediately think of loads of backstories about princesses. Most of them are Disney inspired.
And they need saving.
And they generally need saving, which is quite good for gameplay.
Usually unhelpful.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, so you go through the characters, and if you look at these characters, the 7 Disney characters, this was our Indiana Jones, where might have that one as well, so he was a plucky explorer. We then had these other characters, so...
I bet some of the people in the audience know who the characters are based on, don't they?
Yeah, because we have said this on the internet, but some people read these things. Go on, say what all the characters are. So, right, we were super new fans, so that...
Hang on, we can do the hands up for each character.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll start with Dozy. Who is Dozy modeled?
I'm trying to remember this. Who is Dozy modeled on? That's not that one. It's not the one I can remember. Does anybody know which one Dozy was?
No. It was kind of halfway between Dylan the Rabbit and Neil from the young one.
Oh, yes, I Dylan on the Magic Roundabout. That's right.
Basically...
No, that's it. No, that's
the young one! Oh, crap!
That was Neil. We were fans of the young ones. That was
a long time ago.
That was supposed to be Neil. So, Daisy. Daisy, anyone know? Daphne from Scooby-Doo. Denzel.
I met this guy once. I met him. He's a scriptwriter in Hollywood.
Well, you go. Tell us.
Henry Will. No.
The Vaughns. Trying to be cool. Well, Henry Winkler. Right, okay.
I didn't
Dora. Who knows who Dora's based on? Velma.
Well done.
Yes. We've done that one, Neil from the young one. Go on, Dizzy.
From Magic Roundabout.
Go on, Dizzy. Kind of loosely based on the Wanda from Equals and Horses. I remember we watched Equals and Horses a lot, and we were like, yeah, let's give him sort of easy around. Yeah. Okay, old wise chap.
These were the Disney games, a quick compilation. Look at all that attribute clash. That's an NES version or a console? That's a 64 link. Amstrad. Well, we just did a let's play for that one, and when it gets right ready to me, you can see it. Dragons. Every game is better with dragons. YouTubing.
See graphics getting slowly better over the years. Wow.
That's in 3D either. I just remember this funny little story. Funny little story, Andrew, can you remember that? I saw him face being pebbles into the water.
Oh yeah?
Can you remember where that came from? Where we got that idea?
No.
Finger bobs. Anything with something more? Yeah. There was a little scene in Finger Bobs where it's
A little bird. You must have just seen it. Oh, that's an idea for a puzzle.
yeah,
Stick that in there.
in the water, right?
Yeah.
Finger bobs.
I must admit, when you watched things like Indiana Jones and stuff, they were like...
And the mouse.
In Indiana Jones, they were sort of constantly thinking of puzzles, and we were kind of in that same time where just like thinking puzzles that would be sort of logical. Some of them weren't logical, sorry about that. Although I do think the funniest one was, and I can't remember which game it was, but we put a red herring as an object. I do remember people saying, what's red herring for? Because I beat the game, but I never found a puzzle for the red herring. Oh God. Anyway, that was quite funny.
By the time we got to number 3,
well, we were getting quite slick, but drawing maps.
we got a system going. The first Dizzy one was on Warping. It's up there somewhere, I can't find it. I haven't seen Dizzy 2 map for a while, I don't know where that one was. But this is Dizzy 3 with some penciled in name of what it might have been called, and then when we decided what it was called, we put it across the top with shadowing.
Before post-its, I think, because we had our own idea, print sticks and little bits of paper, and we just hand drew where the map would go. And if we didn't like it, we just picked it off and scribbled it, threw it away, and put another little pad down, and drew it again. And then we did little counters for the objects. So I think we had little plastic beads with words on, and you just sort of play it on paper to make sure that you go backwards and forwards and do the right things. Although there are ways to actually get a bit stuck. You climb to the top of the tree using the rope, and then you leave the rope, you jump out the tree, you can't get back up.
You know when you play a Risk, there's always a danger. You can walk away with somebody or an animal who's going to come across and walk on the board and make all the pieces. You don't have anyone really having the same room. Saying where the solution is and where the object is. Is it really messing you up? He's going to sit there like, for God's sake, don't get near it.
Right, anyway.
So I say though, I'm really proud and I still can't believe that how many screens of gameplay and how much it was in there in about 32k of memory, because it did fit in a 48k spectrum, but what they don't tell you is that you've lost part of that memory to the screen, the operating system and everything else. So the whole game has to fit in about 32k of memory. And I know we said that that's way, but I still can't believe it. You look at an email and you can't write an email in 32k, right? So there's a pretty efficient coding going on there, there's a pretty efficient compression and graphic systems going on.
We moved the system on a bit with this one because it's tracing paper with where you take things to and the description.
Oh, this was a big one. This one took a whole year. Fantasy World Dizzy took about a month to write. So it says October '89, and we pretty much gave ourselves a month. We always used to give ourselves a month to try and buy a game. Or often,
I was going to say, some games just run terribly late by like maybe a month.
This one ran horrendously late because this one was going out at $50 in the US. This was Fantastic Dizzy. And this basically, we were going to launch Dizzy in America. It was going at $50. So what we did was we tried to take all the existing Dizzy games and squeeze them all into one game. And that game took about a year to write. And well, it was that game that made us go, you know what? We're getting old for this game. Can we hire some people to do this for us? Which is why we started.
So we decided to employ some artists.
21-ish.
Okay, right.
Here's a map for a game I don't think ever happened. Wonderland, isn't it? I don't think it ever happened.
No.
You go in the loft, you find these things and ooh, what's that then? Anybody? Wonderland, is it? No,
hang on. Yeah. It's got Stonehenge, that's Stonehenge. Stonehenge is one of them. Is it Magic Land? It might be Magic Land.
Who's Dizzy expert?
Yeah, it's Dizzy, because check it out, is that the map?
Tell us if that one got released, because I don't know.
Right.
Go out the loft, you find all sorts of things.
Move on. Oh, another video. Oh, so this was a pitch we did to Codemasters for PlayStation 2. Yeah. So we've been
didn't go anywhere.
We've sort of left Codemasters and we've been writing games for THQ and Disney and various other people, and kept on fondly remembering Dizzy. So we thought we could do a pitch back to Codemasters to maybe we could write a Dizzy game. But no, it didn't go anywhere, which is a shame because we put a lot of effort into that. But it didn't happen. Yeah. I have to say actually, one of the games I've written just before that, although we started to employ other people, well, I was coding for quite a long time, but one of the games that I wrote before that was Chicken Run on the PlayStation 1, which I loved working on Chicken Run and with Aardman and stuff. We were big fans of Wallace and Gromit, which is where it sort of started. But if you have a look at Chicken Run, it's so Dizzy. He's Dizzy hatched.
Okay. Right, quickly move on, Andrew, because we're over time now.
Oh, okay, right. Not again! Right, mouse. Okay, so unfortunately, yeah.
Less than 1 minute.
Less than 1 minute. Right, Dizzy did that with Codemasters, but we were keen to sort of like do something with them. But then iPhones came out, and one of the programmers who wrote the ST and Amiga version was a Quincy Yolkfolk, was trying to show a demo of what you could do on an iPhone. Because he had all the source code and all the graphics and stuff, he got it running on an iPhone in a sort of loose demo, showed it to us down in the pub one day, and we were like, oh, that's pretty cool. He goes, well, do you mind if I publish it? And we go, well, you don't mind if you want to go for it. Quite interesting to sort of get something back out there. But you better talk to Codemasters. And Codemasters sort of cut a deal, but they said, oh, we better talk to us. So Codemasters wanted to sort of our permission that they could publish this, and we said, yes, so that we can publish our own Dizzy games, which is where the whole thing came from, that we can now go back and do Dizzy games. There was always a bit of a weird friction there when we left them. So, if you've got an iPhone or iPad or Android phone, you can get, for instance, the Yolkfolk. Oh, it's on BBC Cut as well. It's bronze, right? Although I think the demo didn't show us it's bronze, right?
The NES versions of Fantastic Dizzy Scroll as well. What we did. Right,
Okay.
really quick.
Okay.
How fast can you flick through slides?
I'm going to do the video game. Okay. Oh God, yeah. So, okay.
I did this PowerPoint, but you can talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, we tried to bring it back because we've now got permission that we could do it again. It was just the funding, and people kind of joke about, oh, we're the millionaires and we made loads of money. It's like, well, we're not actually. We haven't made huge amounts of money. We do run a big company, but yeah, you have lots of people, and people are amazed that when you make a game with say 80 people, you go, oh, well, you must give loads of money. It's like, well, you have a contract with maybe more than £1 million, but wages and staff cost that kind of amount, and any run over at all usually gets sort of 10-15% profit, and kind of goes somewhere in a month or two run over, and literally that's how it runs through the money. So we thought, you know what, if there's a big fan base out there, then we'll try and get this off the ground. So we did a Kickstarter to bring it back. We asked for $250,000, which frankly, the vision that we have for the game is going to be huge. It's like, if we were going to do it, we were going to do it properly. We weren't just going to port an old game, which is like the iPhone game. We wanted to bring it back in a big and bold and colourful way. 3D characters, I mean, because that's what we've been doing. In fact, it cost a lot more than $250,000, I can tell you. But we wanted to see if there was people really wanted it back. Unfortunately, it didn't make it. But along the way, in our pitch for doing the Kickstarter, we went back, revisited the characters, we did artwork with our decent artists.
They're awesome.
Yeah, awesome artists. Okay, so we went back and we went back to reimagine the characters, we went on some brainstorms to do some levels. So that's
We've got whiteboards now.
Yeah, a few of us
on a sticky paper.
Yeah, so a few of us sat around a whiteboard and scribbled out scene, okay, got some interesting concept art. It's all on the internet anyway. This is sort of look at that level, and we sort of mocked it up in Maya quickly just to give it a sort of rough look. I won't bother doing this on the internet. I put it there anyway. It'd be much better quality on the internet. But this was the sort of style of graphics we were going for. And I think it would look really nice. We didn't want to go to absolute full 3D, we still wanted to have a little bit of a homage to a sort of 2D thing. And I thought it was a nice unique style. Anyway, sadly didn't happen, but it is fondly remembered, I believe.
Yeah, okay, so this is the mastermind. It's going to kick us off, okay. It is really nice that all of you guys and everybody else kind of remembers Dizzy so fondly. I set up a Facebook page recently on behalf of Dizzy as his agent, and it was a couple of weeks and he got 500 friends. It took me a lot longer than that. That's true. So that was really nice, but yeah, if you haven't befriended Dizzy, go and befriend him, because if we ever post anything about Dizzy, I'll make sure that he posts. That's it. Yeah, that's what we post. If it's about some other superheroes or the other games that we did, then I'll post it on the Other Twins site that I set up afterwards. But there's obviously Yolkfolk.com and there's lots of other sites, and there's still people making Dizzy games out there, which is it's awesome. It makes us really proud. So, thank you to all those people. Look at that! Lots of little characters as well. There's a couple of traitors in there, I have to say.
Everyone in the room that drew that, because we just found it on the internet. Give credit to the person, but anyway,
I don't know Andrew Joseph was involved. Yeah. But yeah, so thank you very much for remembering him so fondly. So we've run out of no questions, that's it.
For maybe one or two very quick questions. So does anybody have a quick question you'd like to ask? Yes, down here.
Those ones, but I thought you were going to say Forza, which I was going to get. It's bloody amazing. I cannot believe
I
it.
reckon somebody was paying attention in maths.
We'll take a question from you, sir. Yes, what did you want to say? Games over the years that's inspired you.
Games that inspired us.
Well, Nintendo's pretty good.
Yeah.
Rare in the good old days.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Rare Nintendo were just untouchables. Yeah,
Oh,
we saw,
that's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
40 minutes. 40 minutes or so.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what can I say?
So, yeah, Nintendo games and the rare games are awesome. Sky Saga.
You knew that was the answer. You came by the stand earlier.
And if Sky Saga goes so well that you have a chance to make one more game in your house, and it's not Sky Saga 2, don't push it. What would it be?
Sky Saga, right, I'm sorry, but we are doing it. Let's leave it. We're doing it. We're doing it. That's a nice t-shirt.
I'm going to have to wrap it up there, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, little twins. We'll be back at 3 o'clock. What's coming next for the other twins, which is Sky Saga, possibly the only game we ever need again, and we don't need to make any more. So we'll find out about Sky Saga at 3 o'clock. If you want to see it, it's in the main hall just as you go through the front doors. If you're interested in cosplay, masquerade, that's at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, we'll actually, yeah.
Now we're about to do that.
The game, and we just described it to them. I thought helicopter gunship was obvious. Would you do it was Rambo, wasn't it? You just watched Rambo. Just had a helicopter gunship. Yeah, the helicopter gunship was cool. So we made helicopter gunship simulator, which got later renamed to Fireball.
Yeah, but we've got Operation Gunship. There's Operation Gunship.
That's Operation Gunship.
It started as Operation Gunship.
So,
and then we renamed it.
The cover turned up for Operation Gunship. The artwork turned up for Ghostbusters.
It was Battleship.
It was a battleship.
It was a battleship. So well, that's bloody weird. It was like,
it's like, we were all like, use this? Can we use this? And anyway, Ghostbusters just said, no, we'll get another piece of art. We'll time to watch Batman first. And I think it went off and got back.
yeah. It's really funny to think, but you guys will remember like, how primitive these computers are, and you've got that sort of from places like this. But you forget communication without phone and stuff. It's just on phone calls, and you can't describe it on the phone. And sometimes things, we've got loads and loads of handwritten letters to Ghostbusters and artists.
We've even got one about Happy Newton. Restaurant trade.
So they're handwritten letters.
Which was really weird. Because we do want to disprove that through that.
It's like
Spectrums. It's all.
Yeah, so we just use the handwrite stuff. We use the handwriting code. But it's so funny that we all just take emails.
That's a method code.
Photos. I mean, we haven't got many photos because it's always 12 of those long. You have to go back and you get about 5 or 6 out of the 25. So we just don't have that because
there's an age.
So many developers. Like I say, this where we were doing so many games, we throw them at each other, right, in this picture, which is quite funny. So fundamentally, we're so optimistic about the future, with like, games are going to be better than films and stuff like that. And the funny thing was, we were a few games in, like Dizzy's or something, and we did an interview with a journalist, and we just watched James Bond, and we said, look, games are so cool, and they're better and better every year. And it's great that you can play characters, and 2 people playing sort of action heroes like James Bond. You will feel like you are in James Bond film, you play out, it's last person. And it's so cool that he never wrote it, because it would have been quite funny.
It was just
Disney, they think you're playing James Bond. That's just rubbish. It's like, no, honestly, you will. I mean, like, in the guy's like this, it's like, there's a million miles difference between Disney and a film. You know there is now, but things are like moving very fast, and so we're not supposed to talk, we always talk about that's it. There's lots of areas.
There's a few things wrong with it, and that was for team side. Although by that 92 we started signing people ourselves. But I mean, there's lots of things we want to do. That too.
No, but actually that's an interesting thing, because I remember facing with our dad when I was visiting him. You go, this new internet. You should get into it. We go, yeah, we know. Everyone's pirating all our games. and that's kind of, that was kind of turned you off a bit to the fact that our experience of the first year or 2 of the internet was everyone said, lots of really exciting games and music. It's just brilliant. So everyone was using it for sort of pirating. It was like, so we were like, yeah, but we stay away from that. And so we did sort of like pull away from the internet simply because it was a big piracy market. And that's how everyone used it. it's actually sorry, another reason why we steered to Amiga. Everyone we knew at ST Amigas, they just showed us this. Yeah, look at all the games, and we were like, holy crap! It's like, and we just thought, well, we're not going to write on those machines. They're just nice close. Which is why we jumped sideways to Nintendo, because there was no way to fucking up this. And we just knew it's just going to bring us down. Like, those things quite bad. But if it's that easy, you can do it separately to this, and you can like 20 games of this, people just like share it.
A lot coming.
But that's something you can get with flip screen, you couldn't get with scrolling, that suggestion of something else to the next screen.
There are other ways of kind of doing that. I mean, we can put mystery objects in. You've got, oh my god, I found a silver golden egg, whatever, and it's like, the sacred egg of Azavar or whatever, and you go, yeah? And we just don't do anything with it. Because then people go, I wonder if it ever did do something. You keep wondering. It's like, but it just makes the world feel even bigger and even richer. And to be honest, people feel there's kind of quite deep stories in these. And to be honest, if you look at the number of words, they really are. Because you really couldn't do too much.
See, Disney changed his jumping mechanic when he went to Crystal Kingdom. He had a double backflip. And before that, he had a single flip and he rolled around. But was that a deliberate decision? I mean,
we did want to improve the as I think I said before. We did the rotation because we could, because Patrick did it. But then it became a bit of a pain in the ass. Disney game really took off. Oh, it's called Disney now. So we were always trying to start the same way to make it sticky and make it. So yeah, I think that would be us. Somebody's had it. Very sorry to give it. Fantasy world. It's made for several reasons. The whole game is done from start to finish. That was a slick production. It's pretty much 100% hard. Because we went after this, there came lots of other people's work. These guys are on level with this. Brilliant. There's everybody else's work. So that's kind of favourite. Well, as Andrew told you, his test because fantastic images, because that was the 50s old that got into America, and so we tried to capture so many ideas on the covers of the side of the Megapod. The game was bloody nasty, but it did take a year to write. So it's the best Disney game. The experience was positive because it took a year, whereas that took a month.
And then my son,
oh, right, okay. On Megapod. No, I was going to say, Amiga. I mean, we didn't write, we were sort of for ST. We did Drive, we did Apps, we did I don't think that you see. Was it quite that's no way. When you look at track, yeah. We got yeah,
nowadays, if you try to do artwork like
right. Back in those days, And back in the first game, it was single player. So he went because there's no conversation. And it was only years later on number 4 where we said, we own it, they said we own it, and we said we own it. But it wasn't so it's always been happening. So no, everybody was great. If you look back at the word IP or intellectual property before the 90s, before then, never happened to the same. So it was only just coming in. It was a really nice speech of Bill Gates when we were young. Back at that time. I really think that we're actually just applying source code. I think that there is some value in what we're writing. There's a really nice passionate speech to it. And because back then,
the Dizzy Hawk was one of the hardest things. It just kept killing you and kept killing you. I think Dizzy 3 started really hard because you had the thing and you had to drop the bone for the thing, and then you had the Dizzy Hawk, and then you had to drop the things in the water. Do you think puzzle games then were meant to be hard so people invest all that time into it, whereas these days games are so easy and disposable?
Yeah, right. First of all, we were trying to make games that were relatively easy, but we didn't want them to be just a walkover. They had to be a challenge. These days games are an awful lot easier, so you look back at them and look like, at the time, if you compare them with other games, they're actually not that hard. You just never really make hard games. One of the things we kind of resolved later, afterwards, was actually it's a good experience finishing a game. So why go and try to make sure that most of our games you can actually play? So we actually sort of, by the time we got to PlayStation 2 and stuff, we were saying we're expecting people to get through these. We want to make sure they're playing everything to play 15, 20 hours or something. But eventually finish the game and say, I've done it. I'm really proud of myself. Because yeah, our games were a little bit too hard, but all the games are too.
I think they were worth it though, completing all the Dizzies. I'd say, I think, you know, they try and, I mean, Dizzy 1 have completed it loads of times. Yeah, it's just got the character. Yeah, well, yeah. I've seen your Let's Plays. I'm from Lemon Amiga, Lemon 64. Immaculate. I can't wait to see your Let's Plays, Fantasy World. But it's surprising.
I recorded all the footage for Fast Food, and he had to get around to editing.
It's really hard. Anyway, I'll leave you to it. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for everything.